Welcome to this series. This is an attempt to do something a little differently. First, I wanted this to be a living documentary, meaning that it will constantly be changing and new material will be added. I'm going to have major sections and then subcategories for each major section. For this to work, people need to participate and ask questions to help this be alive. I do not claim to know everything. I'm just like everyone else that is searching for the truth. Also, this is a little bit different because I'm attempting to combine all things. Like a lot of documentaries may just talk about conspiracies or spirituality. I'm trying to combine everything. So we're going to be talking about how the universe started, conspiracies, the brain, spirituality, everything. Because like many people, I suffer daily from anxiety and depression, and searching for the truth helps to alleviate it a lot. I do believe that heaven is here on earth and in our hearts and minds, and the truth shall set you free. I've always been interested in the mysteries of the universe and have had a spiritual background, but what really set me off on my quest was dying. When I was 18, I am now 36, I contracted bacterial meningitis and was in a coma for 3 days. I and a handful of others are survivors, and many have had similar experiences. I had several out-of-body experiences, saw people in my hospital room when I was technically brain dead, and many other wonderful experiences. Ever since, I have had dedicated my life to figure out what exactly is going on here. I have a degree in psychology from California State University, Sacramento. I emphasize on experimental research and statistics and life development. All information in this is intended for educational purposes only. Any images are not to be sold and are to be used for educational purposes. Most of the material comes from other sources, and I will mention as best as I can. What original ideas I have, I will specifically mention. Other than that, you can assume all other material comes from others who are or were in the pursuit of knowledge. I will always change my views in the light of evidence, so please add and correct me if you see any errors. Lots of us have never questioned reality, and many don't want to. And who could blame us? Thinking about stuff can be scary, and no one knows for certain about anything anyways. And most people don't really have the time to think even if they wanted to. And even if one could spend a lifetime thinking, we're still trying to solve the same problems and mysteries today that have always existed. Who are we? What are we doing here? Where do we come from? And where are we going? A big problem is we need to know about the fundamentals of reality, which we really don't. We have words to describe things, but the most fundamental things like what is light, consciousness, life, and even the stuff we're made out of don't have solid definitions. We have better maps of the surface of Mars and the moon than we do the bottom of the ocean. We know very little about most of the ocean. This is a quote from NASA. And we know a lot more about the bottom of the ocean than we do our own brains. As far as we have seen, our brains are the most complex structures in the entire universe. So it seems like this is a Sisyphean task to even attempt solving the mysteries. But luckily, if one knows how to read the symbols and where to find them, the mysteries are just waiting to be unlocked. In order to start unlocking the mysteries, we need to look at the world entirely differently than the way we're currently looking at it. Whether you're aware of it or not, everyone has a worldview, and for the most part, we didn't develop it on our own. Where we were born has a huge part in how we develop our worldviews, but our parents, friends, and especially the media help to influence it. I'm going to refer to the worldview as a constructed narrative from now on, and part of this goal is to help you challenge this narrative, or at least show you how it's constructed so you can develop your own worldview. The current narrative is a linear, atheistic, behaviorist, scientific, reductionist construct. I know that's a lot of words, and I'll explain what it all means throughout the entire series. But in short, it just means when you go backwards in time, you go backwards in technology and evolution. Just imagine the picture of the fish turning into a monkey and the monkeys turning into upright modern humans. Very linear, atheistic point of view. Notice there's no God in this picture. The behaviorist scientific reductionist model states that all behaviors can be reduced to chemical reactions within the brain, and all phenomenon can be reduced to material reactions. This ancient view of the world is still the current paradigm despite countless contradicting evidence and viewpoints from leading scientists and archaeologists. And this is not an accident. The powers that be desperately want to maintain this narrative. It is critical for the smooth development of their plan. Now, who are they and what is their plan? Well, again, this will all be covered throughout the entire series, but right now we're focusing on deconstructing the narrative and creating a whole new way of thinking. It's very tricky having this narrative as part of our worldview. It influences how we filter information. The scientific reductionist model removed spirituality from our worldview. We are too smart today to believe in such nonsense as God. And because we removed God from our worldview, we reduced it to just people. And people have a limited lifespan, so it's very difficult for us to imagine people working together on the same plan for any considerable length of time. In fact, we've reduced it to 4 years in America. We think every 4 years when the presidents change, things are going to be so different. So now to further our understanding of the narrative, we can say humans developed from natural processes. Today we are the most advanced that we have ever been. We have civilization and democracy, despite us being a republic. And in this democracy, we have two parties, the Democrats and Republicans, and they are against each other, and every 4 years they battle for supremacy. America is number one. We are separate from other countries. Some are allies, some are enemies. This almost couldn't be further from the truth. So now we'll go into how we can destruct this. Like I mentioned earlier, we need to change the way we view the world. The most important step in changing how we think is to understand how the world is actually organized. Before I referred to our worldview as being a constructed narrative, or what we are told how the world is. What we are told, or what we see, is the exoteric version. Exoteric just means the version likely intended or to be understood by the general public. This is in contrast to esoteric. Esoteric is intended or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with specialized knowledge or interest, in other words, secret knowledge. This is why earlier I said, if one knows how to read the symbols and where to find them, the mysteries are waiting to be unlocked. So if we change our worldview, understanding that there is an exoteric and esoteric version of the world, we are on our way to deconstructing the narrative. And this isn't a foreign concept to us already. In fact, we are already pretty well informed on the structure. We just have different names for it. In America and the government, we have classified, secret, and top secret. So not only do we have an exoteric version of reality, we have 3 different versions, and that's just the one that we know of. So what we were told on TV and in the media, that's the exoteric version. And then the truth is somewhere between these classified and top secret versions.